Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the 17th day of February 2025. You believe that? I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I hope your family is safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health is being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day doing their best to save lives. Blessings upon those also to pick up garbage, to keep our places clean. Because many places around the world, garbage just piles up. Blessings also upon those that make deliveries, such as mail, FedEx, UPS, and food for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are unfortunate victims of child molestation and pedophilia. Those out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the people that are victims of pornography and child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, sex slavery, double curses on all the perpetrators, the profiteers, and those perverts that create the great demands that cause these industries to exist. Finally, double blessings upon the homeless. More than 600,000 men, women, children, families, increasingly senior citizens, and of course veterans, homeless on the streets of the United States of America. And the numbers are getting larger. And millions of people around the world that are even in worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. All right, so we got some time between now and the next game. Next game is at Madison Square Garden on Thursday. Chicago Bulls are coming to town. Meantime, we got time on our hands to look at some things. And there's been too many people actually that are making the case that Mitchell Robinson upon his return should start. And I make the case that he should not. And this is Mitch. I'm Mitch Hive. And that's not negativity on Mitch Robinson. It's positivity for the Knicks. The bottom line is that we want the Knicks to win the championship. So we have to approach this with some intelligence. Right now, Karl-Anthony Towns has been the starter at the 5 for the New York Knicks. Okay? He has been the starter at the 5 for the New York Knicks. He has started 49 games. And he is averaging 35 minutes. He's averaging 25 points a game. He's averaging 13 boards a game. He's having a monster year at the 5. And at this stage of the season, which the Knicks are right now, they played 54 games. So there is 28 games left. This is who the Knicks are, and they're built around a system that has Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5. One of the things you do not want to do as you're closing the 28-game season left in the season is disrupt the flow by making a severe change to your lineup. By putting Mitchell Robinson in at the 5, you change the whole dynamic of the offense for the Knicks. And by doing that, you could hurt the Knicks. Okay? And in trying to figure it out, you could hurt the Knicks. It took our crew that's now present 54 games to figure out how they flow. They still got a lot more to go, but it took them 54 games to get to this point. And they're at a good point. Third in the East, biting on the heels of the Boston Celtics and getting ready to get better. So you don't want to disrupt the flow of the offense, and you will change the whole dynamic with Mitchell Robinson at the 5. Again, that's no slight on Mitchell Robinson. It's just he plays a different style of game than Karl-Anthony Towns, and therefore you're going to have a different style of offense. The argument I'm going to make this morning is for Precious Achiuwa to start. Precious Achiuwa produces consistently since he's been in a Knicks uniform. If you consistently give him 25, 30 something minutes as a starter minutes, he consistently gives you double doubles and high double doubles too. Like you said, last game he played 42 minutes, dropped 26, and had eight or nine rebounds. Okay, and he will get double digit rebounds for you. So, and then he plays tight defense, and most of all important, he doesn't disrupt the flow of what the Knicks do on either side of the ball. Okay. And Josh Hart, on the other hand, Josh Hart is having probably his best season as a pro. He has started the whole season. Okay. So somebody would ask, well, why would you take him out of the starting lineup? That's a good question. But when you have a 6'8", 7-foot wingspan guy that could also get you double doubles, and you put him in the lineup, and then you add the hustle, the grit, and the rebounding of Josh Hart to Mitchell Robinson, you have something. This is the thing. Right now, as we are speaking to you right now, let's look at where the Knicks stand right now in terms of ratings, in terms of impact and all of that. Offensive rating, the Knicks are second in the whole NBA in offensive rating. That's a testament to the starting five, okay? And there's been people complaining and whining about the production of the bench. We're going to get to that in a second. Defensive rating, they're 18th. Now, that is not Tom Thibodeau, but that is without Mitchell Robinson. The defensive rating will increase, in my view, with the addition of Robinson to Mobb Deep and the addition of Precious Achiuwa to the starting lineup. Why? Because now, not that Josh Hart's a bad defender. He's a good defender. But he is 6'4". Okay? And so he does guard 1, 2s, and 3s. He has a little bit of issue depending on who the 4 is, the guard. Speed-wise, he can stay with anybody. But height-wise, it's a little bit difficult for him. So when you add 6'8" Precious Achiuwa, you got now 1 through 5. He can guard 1 through 5. And again, that's no slight on Josh Hart at all. But I'm saying now you have a guy that's not just 1 through 3 impossible for us. Precious Achiuwa is playing right now to backup 5 at 6'8". So he can guard 5s. He's already shown he can guard Embiid, he can guard Joker, he can guard whoever, he can guard Giannis, and he can guard Dame Dollar. He can guard anybody 1 through 5. Plus the rebounding that you're going to get. Because Precious Achiuwa will get you double-digit rebounds in the starting lineup. So that's why you have him there. Now, when you add Mitchell Robinson to the second unit, Mitchell Robinson, for his career, averages 8 rebounds a game, 8 or 9 rebounds a game. And it's typical for him to get more offensive, which is rare, to get more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds. And the offensive rebounding is what you want, especially come playoff time. Why? Because the more offensive rebounds you get, the more scoring opportunities you have. Any NBA team that can get multiple scoring opportunities on a consistent basis is going to win a lot of their games. The key to getting those opportunities is to get offensive rebounds, which is why Mitchell Robinson becomes extremely important. So you bring him into Mobb Deep. You have him, you have Deuce, you have Josh Hart. You can add various combinations of anybody else you want. You could put Jalen Brunson with that crew. You could put Precious Achiuwa with that crew. You can put Karl-Anthony Towns with that crew. You can put Mikal with that crew. You can put OG Anunoby with that crew. Deuce, MitchRob, and Hart. You could add anybody else you want to that on a second unit. And you're playing against other second units. See, nobody's starters play 48 minutes. So they have to come out the game. And if they even play 40 minutes, that's 8 minutes they got to sit. With the Knicks Mobb Deep like that, the Knicks have a tremendous advantage. So I would expect, what I'm saying all that is to say, I expect the Knicks defensive rating to improve once Mitchell Robinson come back, if they make the change. Because I'm going to say like this. I'm about 60% to 70% sure that Tom Thibodeau is going to change the starting lineup when Mitchell Robinson comes back. He's not going to start Mitchell Robinson, okay? But I can see Precious Achiuwa starting in place of Mitchell Robinson, in place of Josh Hart. And Josh Hart, one of the things that makes him one of my favorite Knicks, aside from the grit, the grind, the toughness, the never say die attitude, the energy he brings, is that he will do anything it takes to win. He has no problem coming off the bench. None, zero. In fact, and sometimes he's even stated he expects that. So the defensive rating will increase. When you have the number 2 offensive rating in the NBA, and you go from 18th, let's say they get into the top 10, which I fully expect the defensive rating to get into the top 10. Now you have a juggernaut, okay? That's what we've been talking about. The Knicks assist ratio is 10th in the NBA. The Knicks net rating is 5th in the NBA. This Tom Thibodeau is doing a tremendous job with all of the whining and the stupidity that goes on in media and in commentary about Tom Thibodeau. With what he has been missing, he is doing a tremendous job with this Knicks team. And now you're going to give him a weapon of MitchRob. The rebound percentage right now for the Knicks, I don't know what rebound percentage is, but they got them listed as 6th in the NBA. Okay? That's overall rebounding percentage. So once you get back Robinson, my case is to start Precious. Precious is improving as a shooter already. He's improving as a shooter. He's not. Josh Hart has improved greatly as a shooter. Last year, I think he shot like, if I'm looking at it, he shot like 31% from the 3-point line last year. He's shooting 34 this year, but it's obvious to me his shooting has improved. And he's very much picking his spots, which is smart. So I don't think Precious, I'd be surprised if Precious would get to 34% from 3 right now. I think, though, if you start him and you keep him in the starting lineup, let's say you go through this season and you start next season with Precious Achiuwa as your starter at the 4, you give him time, he will get to league average. He will get to 36% from 3. I'm very confident in that. So, because he's working on it and he's got the talent to do it. So you add that to what all the other things he brings to the table in terms of rebounding, defense, and finishing at the rim, ball handling, and guarding 1 through 5. You add that to it. See, when you have a team, think about this now. So you got Precious Achiuwa that could guard 1 through 5. You got OG Anunoby that could guard 1 through 5. I think that we can be conservative and say Mikal Bridges could guard 1 through 4. I don't think that's crazy. Okay, so and then you got Cat that can guard 4s and 5s. I mean, he's not going to be guarding point guards, right? But he can guard 4s and 5s, and that's all you need from him. And Brunson, if he can stay in front of his man for 6 to 10 seconds. So then you have Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and Hart coming off your bench, and all of them can guard at least 3 positions. Okay, Deuce can guard at least 1, 2s, and 3s, at least. And sometimes I've seen him guard 4s. You can see Mitchell Robinson can definitely guard 3, 4s, and 5s. And, of course, Josh Hart can guard 1 through 4. It's hard to get a mismatch on a team like that. See, one of the things about the NBA is they look consistently. They're looking for mismatches. Okay, they're looking for mismatches. Some of the games the Knicks have lost because they did a bad job finding the mismatches. For example, when they played against Atlanta, they need to find where the leprechaun is and go at him, like teams do against Jalen Brunson. And the Knicks generally are good at that. But sometimes they slip. But you want to find the mismatches. So if you can have a defensive team on the floor where, like the Celtics, no matter who you switch, Derek White can play defense. Jrue Holiday is all NBA defense. Tatum, Brown, they can guard anybody you switch them from. So you can switch all you want, but you're going to have a good defender on you when you switch to them. Okay? So that's what you want. Closest you could get to that, the better. It's hard to get there, though, because sometimes you got players that are great defensive players, but are not good offensive players, right? So that's a disadvantage in terms of that, but as many guys as you can get in your rotation, and Tom Thibodeau loves this, as many guys as you can get in your rotation that can guard multiple positions, the better your defense is going to be. See? So if you're talking about a 9-man rotation, well, let's say Brunson can only really guard once, okay? He can guard others, but they'll be standing at the 3-point line. He's not the greatest defender. We'll just throw that out there and admit it, right? So Brunson can guard once. Mikal can guard 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. OG can guard 1 through 5. Karl-Anthony Towns, let's give him 3s, 5s, and 4s when he's on, right? And then, of course, you add Precious 1 through 5. Now they have to hunt out Brunson, which is what they're doing anyway. But Tom Thibodeau has been doing a good job of hiding him and making him guard whoever's standing at the 3-point line, no matter who it is. switch out to the three-point line. Whoever's guarding the three-point line, that's who you guard. Then you bring in off the bench MitchRob. MitchRob can guard 1 through 5. He has the ability, the agility, the hostility, as Clyde would say, to guard 1 through 5. Josh Hart can guard 1 through 4. Deuce can guard 1 through 3, definitely, if not 1 through 4. So you bring in off the bench more. Then if you add to that Precious or you add to that OG, this is a hellified team coming down the stretch. And you're not disrupting the offense by having Precious there. He flows with the offense. He's already shown it. And then you got the defensive team with Deuce and MitchRob. This is tremendous. So my thing is, no, you do not start Mitchell Robinson. I mentioned that Friday. I mentioned it again. Stop the NBA 2K and let's look at how we're going to long-term sustainably win. Okay? Mitchell Robinson in Mobb Deep makes him more dangerous because now he's not disrupting the offense. He's anchoring the defense. And you're not playing him 35 more minutes. You're playing him less than 30 minutes, probably 25 minutes. And that's going to prolong his career, okay? And prolong his effectiveness for the Knicks to win long term. That's why you do not start him. And especially when you got a horse like a Karl-Anthony Towns. When you got a player like Karl-Anthony Towns, again, he's not a top defender. Some many people get exaggerative and talk about how he's a horrible defender. That is not true. He defends. And when the playoffs come, he's going to defend a little bit more high because it gets more physical and he can play physical. But offensively speaking, there is no guy in the NBA that plays the 5 that can consistently stop him. I mean, nobody. So when you have that and he can at least hold his own, which he can defensively, you got something. Okay, you really do. You're not talking about a guy that's just good offensively. We're talking about a guy that's probably at his position the best. And in the league, that's the best in the world. The best offensively. So with him and the Joker, I would say those two, the best offensively in the world. You play that guy. You don't sit him, you don't move him to the 4 suddenly. You keep him exactly where he is and you let him victimize opposing 5s. And you add to that defense coming off the bench. Now, with respect to the scoring coming off the bench, Deuce, Hart, MitchRob. MitchRob's not going to score, but Deuce and Hart, they're going to score. You still got Cameron Payne. You still got Landry Shamet. Payne consistently shows he will score off the bench. Whether he's playing 8 minutes or 28 minutes, he will score. Okay, I know people get frustrated because he likes to throw up some threes, but I noticed that he throws up those threes in areas that he knows he can consistently hit threes. Again, in the league, guys look for their spots. Not always all guys have the same spots. TJ McConnell's spot is about 8 to 10 feet from the rim on any side of the rim and on any side of the floor. So from the center of the floor, the left side of the basket, the right side of the basket, 8 to 10 feet, that's his spot. He finds it consistently, doesn't matter who's guarding him. And so that's what NBA players do. They're looking for their spots. For Cameron Payne, his spot is on the right side of the floor where he's looking from his left and he pushes it up there. He'll take a 3 from there anytime, even on a fast break. And he likes the floaters, okay? Any from the middle to the right side of the floor and the floaters. He's very good at that. And so when you get him out there, he will score. Shamet is a jump shooter. His jump shot has not been on this year. There's reasons for that. He's a pro-level NBA shooter. It's not because he can't shoot, but he's going to eventually get it. Hopefully, he continues this season without injury, and that will help him in his rhythm. So you got scorers with Deuce, with Josh, and then you got Mitchell Robinson. And, so I'm not as worried about the bench. What really excites me about the bench is the defensive ability that they have. So they will win their battles against other second units defensively, okay? And that's what you want. So yes, the argument today is to start Precious Achiuwa at the 4 and bring Josh Hart in with Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride in Mobb Deep. I think that's going to be dynamite. Again, and the main reason, again, is because to put Mitchell Robinson at the 5 is to change the offense. To change the offense is to disrupt what they're doing right now. Okay, it's not about whether Karl-Anthony Towns can play the five. It's about what the unit does and what kind of flow the five-man unit. If you follow even street ball, you know that if you get five guys together that flow and they seem to fit in their spots and their positions, what they're doing on the floor on the court, then they're gonna hold court. Okay, and a lot of times you got guys that's playing in the same neighborhood for years, even all their lives, and they can play together because they flow together. You want to make sure you keep the flow, the number 2 offensive rating in the NBA. You want to make sure you keep that flow. You don't want to change it. MitchRob will change it by just going to the 5. It changes the whole dynamic. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep the flow. Precious doesn't change the flow, and he adds even to the defense. So you want to do that. I would say, especially coming down the stretch of this season and going into the playoffs, healthy Precious, healthy MitchRob, healthy Gato. Please, man, we be good. We be good. So yes, I'm saying start Precious. At first, you're going to have MitchRob coming off the bench anyway, just because he's going to get his feet wet, right? I want to see what Tibbs does though in terms of the starting unit when MitchRob does come back. We'll see, but it's going to be interesting. So I don't know, and some people can. What do you think about Payne? And I don't know how many minutes Payne and Sham are going to play. I could just tell you for sure, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and either Precious or Josh Hart will be the main root, the stump, the foundation of Mobb Deep. After that, I don't know what Tibbs is going to do. He'll figure it out. You all enjoy your Monday. So.